Wait a second. I was unmuted. So let me start that again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Hello, hello, hello. And welcome to episode 21 of Imposter Syndrome Disrupted. So nice to have you here for another broadcast of the LinkedIn Live show that's all about empowering women entrepreneurs. I'm here with you every second and fourth Tuesday, no matter what. I'm here every second and fourth Tuesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And again, this show is all about empowering women entrepreneurs. As a LinkedIn expert, I've seen directly with my clients, especially women entrepreneur clients who struggle with strongly promoting themselves, their businesses on LinkedIn based upon thoughts that we have up here, that programming that says we're not the phenomenal women, we're not the phenomenal business women and owners that we are. And so as a result, I created this show. And so fortunate to be able to provide this community format and have wonderful guests like I have again today to be able to share their entrepreneurial journeys and information and insights with us. But so it is November 9th, quickly going to the end of 2021 and quickly moving to 2022. So, as always, come on in, check in. Instead of putting where you're at geographically, excuse me, even though I know we have people from all over the world that join us, put in the chat which one of your LinkedIn successes, what is one of your LinkedIn wins? No, LinkedIn, I'm sorry. See, I'm a LinkedIn expert. I'm so used to saying LinkedIn all the time, but that's not what I meant to say. One of your business wins, put that in the chat. What's one of your business wins? All right, recent business wins. Let me get started so that I have time for my guests with my routine for the show. Before I do that, I want to make sure I announce this, and then I may mention it again, but as a reminder to some and maybe just by way of information to others, November 27th is Small Business Saturday. So if you do not have a special campaign, a special content campaign on LinkedIn or have something unique going on with your business on that day, if you don't have that already scheduled, get going get going with the planning and making sure you optimize that day, because that's the day for us as small business owners. I'm the owner of TCM Communications, but I have a speaking opportunity that day and some other activity I have planned. So just making sure November 27th, if you're a small business owner, you have something going on that day to elevate your brand, elevate your presence, get the word out about your business, what you do. All right. So let me get on with the agenda. So as always, I try to provide some inspiration right off with a motivational quote. Now, this motivational quote is from Marisha Meyer. She's former CEO of Yahoo. And it says, if you push through that feeling of being scared, that feeling of taking risks, really amazing things can happen. So if you push through the feeling of being scared, that feeling of taking risks, really amazing things can happen. And I decided to share this one because as entrepreneurs, as women business owners, if we stay in our comfort zones, right? If we stay doing only that bare minimum, only doing the easy stuff, then we're not going to get to the other side where there's the amazing stuff awaiting us in our business. There's the success that's on the other side. When we push through what we're scared of, where we push through things that may seem risky, but when we take those greater risks, right? That's when we have those greater rewards. So making sure we push through that feeling of being scared, that feeling that the risks are too great. When we take those risks, when we push past those feelings of being scared, that's when the magic happens. That's when the amazing things happen. That's when the doors open. That's when we hit those successes. So that's your inspirational quote for this episode. And so I'm sorry, excuse me, just a moment. Going back to, and let me just say, welcome, Tony. Oh, thank you, Tony, for the feedback. I appreciate it. So I will gladly tell you anything about what I use when it comes to broadcasting my LinkedIn Live show. So connect with me after this if you want to. DM me on LinkedIn. Excuse me. But I use StreamYard. And I love StreamYard, and I'm a huge fan and advocate of StreamYard. But it makes me, and I say this facetiously, but for real, me, a non-techie person, seem like I know what I'm doing. So I use StreamYard. So I'm glad it's coming across clear. I'm having some lighting issues today, so it's good to hear you say I'm coming across clear and that you appreciated the quote. So thanks much, Tony, and thanks for joining. This show is predominantly really focused on women entrepreneurs. So having men join us is always a great sign, allyship and support. We can't do this on our own, right? Not necessarily. So the support of allies, men, to these shows or these episodes is great as well. So I want to share with you a resource now. And so about a grant opportunity that is coming up quickly, the timeline for this. And you should be seeing my screen now. And let me just make it larger so you can see it all. And so this is the Dove Chocolate launches Dove Insta Grants program to help female small business owners fuel their entrepreneurial dreams. Now, this is an opportunity for three $10,000 grants. The deadline is November 19th. So quickly coming up, November 19th. And November 19th is next week, Friday. So making sure you check this out. When I end this broadcast, or shortly after I end this broadcast, I will put this in the link to this in the comments. So loop back and make sure you check it out. Or Google Dove Chocolate launches grant program to support women entrepreneurs. For all the details, this may be a golden opportunity for you to infuse some funding into your business. So just make sure you check it out. And again, the deadline is November 19th. Quickly coming up, November 19th. So just so you know, that opportunity is there. And I want to also, as always, there's the opportunity. Great, Tony. I'm glad you love it. Super professional. That's good to hear. I always love good feedback, positive feedback. In connection to the guest that I have today, and she's coming up very shortly. She's ready. She's in the green room and ready. So enter Wright Stuff Chics so the hashtag Wright Stuff Chics in the comments for opportunity to win my LinkedIn book. So my Shine Online with LinkedIn book, you'll be able to win that. And it's a cool, if you ever watch these episodes and you should see me give away my book, it's a cool tool that I use via StreamYard that allows for it to be without me making a decision. The tool makes the decision. So nobody can get mad and say, I have favors and all of that. No, StreamYard does it for me. So just enter that hashtag into the chat just once for an opportunity to win my Shine Online with LinkedIn book. But I'm going to move on and bring my guest on. And so I went through that, I think, the fastest I've ever done. My intro kind of information, so now I have more time for my guests. I'm going to bring Lisa right on with me. So Lisa Dunnigan, hello, welcome to Imposter Syndrome Disrupted. Now, thanks for, okay, I'm sorry. So Ellen, thanks, great to have you. So Wright Stuff Chick, let me see if it registered. Let me see. Did I spell it wrong? No, Wright Stuff with the W, Ellen. So RIGHT Stuff Chics, because your entry didn't enter into the drawing tool. So if you could redo that with the W. And So, welcome. I'm going to have you introduce yourself, and then I have a little bit I want to say about like why I wanted to have you as a guest. But
Okay.
go ahead, Lisa, and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Dunnigan, and I'm actually one of the co-founders of the Right Stuff Chics and Teach Your Heart Out. And we also have a nonprofit called the Pink Santa Hat Movement, and where we send care packages to educators who are battling breast cancer. I actually was a teen mom. I had twins at 18 years old, and one of my twins, Elise, when she was 34, she passed away from stage 4 breast cancer. And so the year before she passed away, we actually were able to start our nonprofit. And because as a family we went through, with someone that you love having cancer, we know how difficult it was. And so we want to bring some joy and inspiration to those people who are having to battle breast cancer. So one time per year, we also bring a group of 8 to 12 women to Atlanta. They get to bring a friend, and we have a whole weekend of inspiration and encouragement to them, because we know what it's like to, be an educator and then also have to battle cancer, which is very hard on everyone. And so we actually started our business in 2017, and Elise was an integral part of that. And so losing her has been very difficult, because I've had to, do a lot of things that I was not used to doing. But I'm trying to be able to do those things now, and step in the big shoes that she left. And so we also have teacher conferences all over the United States. We actually did our first teacher cruise in 2019. We were supposed to do one last summer, but of course, COVID
Right.
decided to bear its ugly head. And so we are planning that for this coming summer in 2022. But we do conferences, 3 to 4 conferences per year, all over the United States.
What's the
So
name of the conference?
the name of the conference is Teach Your Heart Out.
Mm-hmm.
And so teachers are able to not only have fun while learning, but they also are able to get professional development credits, which is required, for them to keep their teaching certificates. So we're very excited about that.
Great. So, let me just, out of full transparency, and I'm all about being authentic and real, but full transparency, Lisa is one of my clients, a recent client, and I want to just say it. So, for those who don't know, and Ellen, I got your entry into to get my book. So, just so you know, um, but for people who don't know, with my business as a LinkedIn expert, I mostly do one-on-one LinkedIn coaching. So, virtual or in-person coaching, event speaking, and group training in corporate settings or for corporations. But I also offer done for you services for people who are super busy, but need to level up on the platform, but they don't have time to do it. So I optimize their profiles for them. So Lisa is one of the super busy women who allowed me the honor to fully optimize her LinkedIn profile. In the process of doing all the research I had to do to really learn about her and understand her so that I could really put the key information where it needed to go on her profile, I was blown away and amazed by how phenomenal this woman is. Seriously,
Thank you.
her story, her work, her history, career-wise as a educator for 30 years and then making the transition and being a successful woman business owner, and especially, with her daughter, and she's already shared a history about her other daughter. It's just, I, you know, when I do done for you services, it's just me and my computer doing it. And I'm just like, I was in awe. Um, and so I had to have her on as a guest. So there you
So
go.
much. Thank you.
Full transparency. It was truly a pleasure, but in I want to just, and usually I don't really talk as much about LinkedIn on this show because it's about empowering women. But the whole process of making sure, because again, I had to do research to find the key information I needed to use for her profile. It helps to have a strong digital presence, period. If you don't have that strong digital presence, and I'm not talking about just on LinkedIn, yes, of course, but in addition to LinkedIn, you have to have that strong digital presence. If she didn't already have that strong digital presence, Lisa, I wouldn't have been able to dig and research and find key information to put on her profile for her. So it aided my process, but you never know who else is Googling you, because that's what I do. Google, like knee deep, get into Google to find out what I need to know. You never know who else is Googling you, who else is doing research online about you. You want to make sure that positive information is there, and that your story is being told in the way that you want it to be told. So again, I'm just honored to have you here, Lisa.
Thank you.
Talk about a little, and if anyone has questions as we go through this, just put a capital Q and then your question. That way I can easily see it in the comments. All right, so Lisa, talk about first your 30 years as an educator, because there's a theme through what you did as an educator to what you do with your business now. So let's go through your 30 years as an educator. And you went through the ranks, as you know,
Right.
all the way from, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but from all the way from the bottom to the top, you know.
Right.
So talk a little bit about that, your journey as an educator, those 30 years.
And I'm so sorry. It seems like my phone, it has a mind of its own today. So I apologize if I'm not like right perfectly in the camera. But it actually overheated. So that's why I had to like step back just a minute ago, because it overheated. So yeah. Anyway, the traffic in Atlanta, you guys know, is horrible. So I apologize for these technical difficulties, but I actually started teaching 7th grade middle school. God help me. I don't know what I was thinking that I could do that, but it was not, middle school was not for me. So I actually got married my very first year of teaching. And then we stayed in Carrollton for 3 years. And then we ended up moving to Gainesville. And when we moved to Gainesville, I actually got to teach 4th grade, which I absolutely loved. Okay. And then my husband at the time, he got a job in Douglas County. And so I was able to go there and actually be a school counselor. And then from being a school counselor, I became an assistant principal. And then 3 years later, I actually was able to take over that same school as the principal. And I did that for 11 years. And then I spent my last 9 years at the central office level being over federal programs. So I have been, around educators my entire career. Right. And so that's one of the reasons that we started Teach Your Heart Out, because, of course, in 30 years, I've gone to not hundreds of thousands, but thousands of teacher conferences.
It felt like hundreds of thousands.
Right. Some good, some bad. And so I was like, you know what? I know this is something that we can do, and we can, make sure that the conferences that we hold are research-based, and they are learning strategies that they can take back to their classroom and implement immediately. But we can also make it fun. We can have an experience that they've never had before. So when we think about Teach Your Heart Out, those are things that we want to do, is give them an experience that they'll remember forever. So that's one of our main goals too.
A learning experience they'll remember forever, and that then also impacts their students that they're teaching.
Absolutely, which is what we're most worried about. Absolutely.
Yes, that lifelong impact of the work of teaching,
yes.
Right? Yes. So going through the ranks, and I love how you said you started teaching at one school, and then you were able to go back and then be in the leadership role at that same school as well, and then go up to the state level and then be in that position as well. So that whole journey, right? Education, you were able to zone in on really what you loved, career-wise. And now, so talk about how you went from doing what you love career-wise for 30 years to then going and transitioning into being a business owner. Because you started that while you were still working, and then you made the transition to being full-time when you retired. So talk about
I was kind of like bamboozled by my girls because they were like, "Mama, we're gonna do the work now. We're gonna do the work. You can just help us a little bit." And then when my daughter got sick, it was
Mm,
like, oh my gosh, I have to now do this. I have to help
right.
my other daughter because my other daughter actually lives in Pennsylvania. So
Okay.
when that happened, it was like, oh my gosh. So it just kind of, I actually have always been a person who always has a whole bunch of stuff going on at one time. And
Hmm.
so at one time I had my own eBay store. I did embroidery. I was one of their top sellers. So being in e-commerce is nothing new, but that wasn't like I was thinking, when I retire, I'll just, be able to, go on some trips like everybody else and have fun. And it hasn't worked out like that, even though I absolutely love being an entrepreneur. And yes, it is very difficult. It's a hard I mean, there are many days where, and many nights where you're just, I'm up like at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking about things that we need to do, things
Yeah.
that need to happen. But it's also so rewarding, and it is so meaningful, and making an impact on the world and helping our children is very much part of our philosophy. So,
Okay.
we totally believe that we need to leave this world in a better place so that kids have opportunities that they might not have. And, when I was an elementary principal, that was one of the things that they always said, there's no telling what's going on at East Side, because I always wanted to make sure that I gave my kids opportunities that I knew they
Hmm.
probably would not have if unless I gave them to them.
Hmm.
So that's always been important. So we carried that same spirit over to Teach Your Heart Out, and making sure that we give great experiences and that we impact the world.
That is phenomenal how, again, that long-term impact, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That you had through your career, and now you're still having with the work that you do with the business. So your girls bamboozled you, as
Yeah.
you said.
Yes, I did. They were
So
like,
the
"Mama, we'll
biz
do all the work." I should have known that was not gonna happen.
so you all started the business in 2013, right?
2017.
Okay. That means I have to make an update to your LinkedIn.
Okay, yeah, 2013. That's when I had the eBay store.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So what made you in 2020? I think I have this date right. What made you then decide to retire and leave the world of teaching, the career, the what you had been doing your whole professional life? What
Mhm.
made you at that point in 2020, so last year, give that all up and then go full time in the business?
Because I knew that, number one, like leaving a legacy for I have 4 grandchildren, so leaving a legacy for them is top of the mind for me. And
Okay.
so I knew that we were onto something really good. With when we first started the Right Stuff Chicks, we had no idea that we would be so successful. But because we have been successful, I knew that that was the opportunity for me to ensure that my grandbabies are left a legacy. And that
Mhm.
doesn't mean that I they already know they have to work for it. That's important. I mean, my granddaughter, she loves coming to the shop and she'll say, "Mimi, what can I do to help you today?"
Oh,
And
how old is she?
so they're 9. They're twin. She has a twin brother also, and
Oh,
they're
it
9.
continued. The twins,
Yes,
it
yes,
continues. Okay.
yes. And
Okay,
so,
wait a minute. Does she get paid for the work that she
yeah,
does?
she does get paid. Oh, honey, they make sure that, Mimi, how much is this paying today? And then
I do that with my granddaughter when she helps.
yes,
In her
absolutely,
mind, what I pay her is a lot of money, but for me, a
exactly.
dollar or whatever I give her is
Exactly.
not a lot. But
Exactly. But
for
it's
her to
teaching
get
them a work ethic, which is so important. Like,
right.
of course, we all like nice things, but we also have to work very hard for those nice things. So that is something that I knew I wanted to do. And then my daughter, Tasha, I knew that she wanted to be a principal. And so there was no way for her to be a principal and try to run a business. And so it was just time to make the change and
Oh,
be
okay.
able to end that part of my life and begin the new part of my life. And I have not regretted it, not one bit. especially,
Oh,
since COVID came and wreaked
right.
havoc.
So that was right at the beginning of
Yes,
COVID. So
absolutely.
how
Yep.
did that influence really the decision?
Well, when I retired, my last day at work was February 28th. And so the world had not
Oh,
shut down
oh,
then.
yeah.
I mean, we
Okay.
were like, COVID? What's COVID? It's like it was it wasn't in our immediate thought of mine. And
Right.
so once like that next couple of weeks after I retired, well, actually, after my retirement, I got so sick, and I didn't know if it was because, I had a lot of people came to my retirement, and I was hugging them, so I got so ill. So
Oh,
then I was like, oh Lord, I think I had COVID because I was deathly ill. I had the worst cough. And, at the time, people weren't really testing for it and all.
right.
So I do feel like I got really sick. And so, I was out of work for a little bit. But after
Mm.
that, it's been full force, and it's been on and popping, as they say. Yeah.
On and popping and super busy. It's
Right.
great. So that I don't want to lose the point of how your daughter followed in your footsteps career
Absolutely.
wise and
Absolutely.
doing what she's doing.
Yeah.
But even going back to what you said before about being up in the middle of the night,
Yes.
thinking about, okay, did we do this? Did we do that? Or what has to be done? And all of that. The pressures or the hectic pace of being a full-time entrepreneur. If you could talk about that, because you mentioned it and kept, in passing, but that
Mhm.
whole the dynamics of that, but yet it also is like if you're not an entrepreneur, I say, or full-time entrepreneur, you can't really understand it,
Right.
how our life is, how it's so demanding, but yet so
Mhm.
satisfying,
Right.
gratifying at the same time, which some people won't like. Well, that doesn't make sense. How can that make sense? But
I think that in life, like I always say there are ebbs and flows. We have some great times, but we also have had like not some so great times. I mean, no one like I don't have a business degree, so have I made some mistakes along the
yeah,
way? Absolutely. Have they
me too.
sometimes? Yes, we all have.
Mm,
So, and I'm still standing. So
right.
we were able to mull our way through that. But being an entrepreneur, number one, you have to have a good work ethic. Like nobody's gonna call you and say, "Oh, are you up?" It has to be intrinsically inside of you to
Where you
know
have
that.
to be
Absolutely.
self-driven, self-motivated,
Absolutely.
all of that, where
Absolutely.
you're not waiting for someone to tell you what to do. We
You
have
have
to
to.
tell ourselves what to do
Absolutely.
every day, all day long, pushing ourselves. Yes.
Exactly. And know that, things are not always going to go the way that you have it mapped out on your piece of paper. It just doesn't work like that. I mean, it would
Right.
be great if it did. And
Yeah.
sometimes, yes, you can execute something perfectly, but many times you're going to take a detour or two, and that's perfectly okay. That helps you to write your story. And it helps your story to be even more, after you have done XYZ, it helps it to be even more of a remarkable story. So
Right.
I would say to anyone who is considering being an entrepreneur, just make sure, and don't, first of all, don't leave your day job too quickly. Make sure that you can sustain your life as it is now. And then secondly, know that you have to be your own motivator. You got to be your own cheerleader,
Right.
because it is, and it's lonely. It's a lonely situation many times because you are alone. And also I think it's important to find a mentor who can help you, someone in your field, someone who's already gone through the things that you've gone through. I think that is very important. And to get the right mentor who can help you is important as well. But it's difficult, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Like it's a hard job, but it's also a very rewarding job.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I'm 4 years into it, and I wouldn't change anything because even
Hmm.
like you said, when we make our mistakes, is learning from them, getting
Right.
those lessons, and then that helps propel us forward even more. But it's a whole different world. Again, unless you live the life, I say, so to speak, as a full-time entrepreneur, it's
Hmm.
hard to really understand it, or even for us, it's hard to really articulate and fully explain it to people for that understanding to be there, because it takes everything, all of our energy and then some. But I love
Absolutely.
and appreciate the tips about, getting mentors, someone someone who's been through it, who can help, who's farther ahead of us, right?
Absolutely.
That can help us get to where we're trying to go, because they're already there. They can shorten the time frame. So getting those mentors, getting the coaches, so that they can support us and help us along the way. But being self-directed is huge.
Absolutely.
Any questions from anyone? Again, just put them in the comments with a Q so that I see. But any questions you have of Lisa and her journey of going from being a 30-year educator to being a full-time and successful, I would add, entrepreneur with her business. And I want you to talk a little more about your business as well. Miriam, I see your entry for the book. Put it in a comment as it is in the ticker there, where it's Right Stuff Chics without a K in Chics, please. Because I don't have your entry yet in the tool. So if you're still with us, Miriam, if you can put Right Stuff Chics as it is in the ticker, that hashtag. So talk more about your business, about what you actually, so because you're wearing, it's hard to see, but you're wearing
Oh yeah,
one of your merchandise, the t-shirt.
Right. We actually create graphic tees and that have like different sayings that are popular for teachers, and we also create gifts for educators. And so, and also some of our tees that we create, anyone can wear them. Like we have one that says "Be the reason," someone, and it tells you why to be the reason that someone, feels loved, accepted, all of those things that anyone should do. But we are a teacher brand, so that is who we mainly cater to. Things that teachers are going to love and want to wear on a dress down day or a dress up day.
Just put a blaze on top of the t-shirt and
absolutely.
rock it.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's our goal always.
Did you see a surge in your business during the pandemic where teachers, in general, teachers are teaching is one of the professions where they say it's one of the harder jobs, but most unappreciated jobs, right?
Yeah.
But even during the pandemic, that was intensified, right? That
Absolutely.
whole process. So did that then push then a surge in your business because of that?
we actually we definitely had more revenue during the pandemic, because people were home, they were shopping, they were having to be on, they had to be from the top up, they had to have on some clothes. So and we made several teas that were helpful to them during the pandemic, just to encourage them to, because teaching through a screen is not hard, it's not easy,
right?
And so we did make several teas that cater to teaching during the pandemic.
Okay, is there anything on your website you would like to talk about? Let me just share
we actually tonight we're actually going to start we're changing our motto a little bit, because we typically just have shirts and then we offer new designs. But beginning in 2022, we are going to just release collections. And so tonight we are putting all of our teas on sale for $10.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, all of them will be on sale for $10.
What? The whole everything?
All the tees. Just the tees, not the sweatshirts, just the tees.
You're like, calm down, just the tees. So I'm going here. Some of the bestsellers here is The Official Humankind versus Racism, and then Teach. Teachers Rules sweatshirt. So that's not on sale. It's a sweatshirt. But this is some of the collection. I'm the bookish type. I like that. I may get that one, and I'm not a teacher, but I love that one.
Yeah, like I said, some of them anyone can wear.
Great. So this is anything else from the website you would like for me to go on to?
We do have we did a custom order with Ray Dunn, and so we do have several Ray Dunn mugs that cannot be found in Marshalls or Home Goods. They are actually authentic Ray Dunn mugs, and we are trying to get rid of those. So we have those for $5.99. So
I'm trying to find those. So right here.
Yeah, right there. Those would make a great Christmas gift. We have a pencil holder as well, and then bookish mug and a board to teach mug, and also fight on, and that's actually for that was one of my daughter's favorite sayings, and then read your heart out.
Great, great, great. So, everyone, you can check out the website, The Wright Stuff Chics, and Wright is with a W, so WRIGHT, The Wright Stuff Chics, and all the great merchandise they have to learn about her teacher event as well, Teacher Heart Out event, but all the great information that is there. Remove. Anything else? Let me check to see if there's any questions. I'm not seeing any questions. So, any final words of inspiration you want to share with anyone who's thinking about making that transition from, and that's what's really right now, as they call the great resignation or the great reshuffle, with people really leaving the work world because of the pandemic and having this time to really step back and look at what they're doing versus what they want to do and all of that. So, any advice or tips or insights specifically for those who are thinking about or working towards making that transition? You already said don't quit your day job until you have
don't quit your day job too soon, and then make sure that you actually have a plan for what you're going to do, and make sure that you are solving some kind of problem in the world, so that you can be successful. And also, don't get intimidated if there are other brands doing the same thing. When we walk into the grocery store and we go to the bread aisle, we see all those different brands. All those different brands are able to be successful. So don't let that ever be a deterrent, is what I would say on that.
Great.
But thank you so much for having me. Also, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, welcome. Of course, thank you. But so that whole thing of making sure you're prepared, but I love the point of don't feel intimidated by others doing what you do. Like,
exactly.
No one does what you do the way you do. So there could be others providing.
They don't have the secret sauce.
Yeah. See, we all have a secret sauce. Exactly. Right. And so it's up to us to make sure that we promote that secret sauce. We put it out there for the world, but we have to be fulfilling a need, a void. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Just not adding to the clutter of things, but filling a void. Absolutely. All right. We're going to wrap up. So thank you so much for joining me. Oh, wait a minute. I have to give away the book. I almost forgot. And I only have one entry. So that means, and the entry is from, I only have one entry, and the entry is from Ellen. So Ellen, you automatically get the book, because I can't do the tool, the drawing, the cool thing with there only being one. So Ellen, send me a DM on LinkedIn with your full mailing address, and I'll be putting the book in the mail to you. And so I'm going to wrap up now, as always, so I don't forget. Ladies, listen, remember to always put our crowns on. Put our crowns on, because we have that brilliance, we have that expertise, we have that secret sauce, right? So putting our crowns on, our S's on our chests, and stand out on LinkedIn and be bold and get the business that you deserve, so that you can move forward instead of staying stagnant on the platform and with your business. And so join me back here again on November 23rd for that'll be episode 22 for Imposter Syndrome Disrupted. So join me then. In the meantime, again, plan for November 27th, which is Small Business Saturday. Get something going as far as some content campaign on LinkedIn or whatever that you can do to promote your business on that day. All right, everyone, take care. Thanks for joining.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.